Welcome back, everyone. It is time to continue with the lesson. So we are going to start with the second hour after this 10-minute break. And first, before, I don't know if you can remember our agenda for today, that in the second part, we were going to have exercises of tonality, tonicity, and tone. Before doing that, we are going to play a game, and I came up with the name of Name 3. And in this game, you're going to be shown two different images that are related to movies. And for each one of those images, you have to name 3 things that are related to that image. By things, because things is a very general word. I mean, you can name characters, objects, elements, I don't know, and probably the director, the voice actor, or the actor, or whatever. So the first one, I think you're going to understand better once we start playing this game. The first one is the Avengers. Can you name an element or a character or anything about the Avengers?
Iron Man.
Iron Man. Great. We have one. Iron Man. Anything else that you know about the Avengers? You can name them in Spanish if you don't know the English words for it. It's okay. Have you seen the Avengers movies? You can name the names of them, whatever you want. Are you there? I cannot listen to you very well. I think it's because you're not speaking much during this hour.
I love Iron Man, so I don't any other character.
Or other character. It's okay.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man, it's also an adventure. That's correct.
Wolverine.
And Wolverine, it's from the Marvel Universe, I think, but it's not
Yes.
an adventure.
Yes, it's
Or is
from
it?
Marvel Universe.
Yeah, but is he an adventure?
Yes.
Yes.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. And I also don't
Why
think,
not?
but
No,
he's
he
not.
is.
I am referring to the movies, and he's not part of the Avengers saga, or at least the movies. I haven't read the not the manga, the comic, so I don't know about the comic. For the in the movies, Wolverine doesn't appear, right?
He's an X-Men.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yes.
He's an X-Men. So one more character or element of the Avengers.
Captain America.
Captain America, that's correct. And he has a shield in his arm, right? For instance,
Yes.
Thor has a, I don't know how you call that, hammer? I think it's a word. You have the Infinity Stones. You have plenty of elements. And now we have our second movie franchise, that is Shrek. So can you name an element of Shrek?
Fiona.
Fiona? What else?
Donkey. Donkey.
Donkey, that's correct. He's a
Onions.
character. Onions, right? So, Shrek, it's like, he has layers, just like onions, right?
Lord Farquaad.
Lord Farquaad, yeah, Lord Farquaad as well. So, I am just receiving the message again that the audio cannot be shared because of a problem. So I will have to stop the presentation, and then I am going to have to share the audio again. But before doing that, we are going to go to the next slide. So as I already mentioned, we are going to work with the 3 T's today, and the first one is going to be a tonality. And tonality is the system that divides a spoken discourse into smaller units. Now, Gaspar, can you help me with the following paragraph, this one, please?
Okay. The second paragraph.
Yes, the one I marked.
Okay, no problem.
Thank
In order to make themselves understood, speakers organize the flow of speech into smaller, meaningful chunks called intonation phrases, IPS. Intonation phrases are also referred to as words groups, tone units, or intonation units. Each unit contains on one piece of information.
Thank you very much. So this is, I mean, we are repeating what we already said during the last session, last hour, but it's just for you to be very clear because as they are, I mean, as these three systems begin, I mean, yes, the first letter of these systems begins, I mean, it is T, they can Thor, axe. Thank you very much, Mr. Bruno. That's the name of Thor's. What did I say? Hammer? It was an axe. We are repeating this, but it's mainly because as it's all start with T's, it can be confusing for you, and you may mix them. So it's just for you to remember them, and also because we're going to do an exercise afterwards. So this was just a small recap, and as an example, we have. I like kiwi, but watermelon, it's my favorite fruit. So, as you know, tonality can be identified because of the punctuation, but we should not only rely on punctuation, but also how the person or the speaker pronounces each word. But in this case, we have, as I already read the sentence, I like kiwi, but watermelon is my favorite fruit. In this case, we have two IPs. We have first, I like kiwi, and then in the second part, but watermelon is my favorite fruit. Right here, I just marked the tonality. So, like I mentioned before, I was supposed to play something to you, but Teams didn't like that idea, and it says that it wasn't going to allow me to do so. So I have to share my screen again. So please wait a second. This. So now we are going to watch this movie segment. Oops, sorry. Wait, I don't know what happened. I don't know what it shared with Vista del Orador, and then it just didn't work at all. Can you? No, not yet. Now you can. Now, as I already mentioned, we are going to watch this movie segment. I do this because it's easier for me to select or the eraser or the pencil in order to do the class. So now we are going to watch this movie segment, and as you could tell, if you have watched this movie just like me, like about 10 times or even more, you know what this segment is about. So we are going to watch it. So please enjoy. But I'm sorry. By the way, could you be able to listen to that?
Yes, only
Yes.
music.
Yes.
Yes,
Correct.
miss.
So now, now it is the real one.
Once upon a time, there was a lovely princess. But she had an enchantment upon her of a fearful sort, which could only be broken by love's first kiss. She was locked away in a castle, guarded by a terrible fire-breathing dragon. Many brave knights had attempted to free her from this dreadful prison, but none prevailed. She waited in the dragon's keep, in the highest room of the tallest tower, for her true love and true love's first kiss. Like that's ever gonna happen.
Have you seen this movie before?
Yeah, like 2000 times.
Yes, yes.
Yes, many times.
Same. It's one of my favorite movies, actually. It's like my safe choice. Whenever I don't know what to watch, I am just going to watch this movie. So now that you have all seen this little clip from the movie, we're going to do an exercise with the same audio. So it says, listen to the audio and mark the tonality in the text. Here is the text. And I think I also send you the text through Teams. So it should be or in the chat or in the Canal General, I think it is called. If you are working from your laptop or computer, because it's going to be easier for you to mark the tonality, because I'm not asking you to write this whole paragraph, because it's going to be a lot of work. So if you are working with your phone, I recommend you to take a screenshot and just use the different edit tools that you have, in which you can do lines. And if you're working from your computer, I will recommend you to download the file I send you if you don't want to um, take a screenshot of your screen right now. So it's up to you. I mean, if you're on your phone, you can also download the document I send you. But for this, we are going to listen to the text again, I think twice. And then while you're listening to it, you have to mark the tonality. That remember, what I mean by marking the tonality is to chunk or to separate the sentences whenever you hear pauses, right? So now you have 1 minute to read this whole text. That is the same that was in the video. So I know they may be some words that are a little bit hard for you to understand, like fearful or dreadful, or I don't know. Yeah, basically enchantment. Some words that prevailed. There are not that common, or words that are a little bit more difficult to understand because of the level. I mean, when I was in first year, I didn't know what those words meant. But you're going to encounter them in the literature class in fourth year, if I'm not mistaken. So by the end of the program, you're going to be able to read all of these like if you were the one telling the tale. So now we're going to listen to it for the first time, and you can start marking the punctuation just straight away. So here it is the first time.
Once upon a time, there was a lovely princess. But she had an enchantment upon her of a fearful sort, which could only be broken by love's first kiss. She was locked away in a castle, guarded by a terrible fire-breathing dragon. Many brave knights had attempted to free her from this dreadful prison, but none prevailed. She waited in the dragon's keep, in the highest room of the tallest tower, for her true love and true love's first kiss. Like that's ever gonna happen.
So that was the first time. Now I am going to play the audio for a second time, and after that we are going to check. or if you need one extra time, we can also listen to it one last time after this one. But this is the second one.
Once upon a time, there was a lovely princess. But she had an enchantment upon her of a fearful sort, which could only be broken by love's first kiss. She was locked away in a castle, guarded by a terrible fire-breathing dragon. Many brave knights had attempted to free her from this dreadful prison, but none prevailed. She waited in the dragon's keep, in the highest room of the tallest tower, for her true love and true love's first kiss. Like that's ever gonna happen.
So, do you need to listen to this audio again, or can we check? What do you reckon? Could you be able to mark the tonality? Yes or no?
I think I don't need another time.
Another. What about the rest? Do you need to listen to it for one last time?
For me, no.
No? Excellent. So, now we are going to mark the tonicity ourselves. So this is going to be line 1, line 2, line 3. I'm sorry for my ugly numbers. They're terrible. 5, 6, and 7. So I need help from a volunteer who can tell me where, if there is any, is there any division in the first sentence?
I can.
Okay, so
The first is until time and stop.
once upon a time.
Yes.
Yes.
After princess, there was a lovely princess. Stop.
Okay.
And that are the only ones in the first because.
In the first one.
But she continued until the second.
If I don't have another volunteer, Bastian, I am going to ask you again. Thank you very much. So, do we have a volunteer for number 2?
After sort.
After sort. Okay.
And
Next
then
one.
to the
Do you want
third.
to do that? In the third one, where? Because that was only one.
After kiss.
After kiss.
And after castle.
Castle. Thank you very much, Diego. Do we have a volunteer for number 4? I mean for line number 4. Kelly, Sebastián, Pia, Camila. I know there was someone who said that I couldn't speak. I think it was Camila.
After
Yes.
dragon, fire-breathing dragon at the end.
After dragon. And can you help me with line number 5? Because that was only one.
I believe prison, after prison.
After prison. And do we have one extra more in this one?
But none prevail.
Prevail. Right here, we have punctuation that help us to identify where the stops are. I deleted, like here says, some punctuation has been omitted, and that's basically, I delete every comma that was present in the paragraph, just to make things a little bit harder for you. Thank you very much, Sebastian. Now, for number 6 and number 7, because it's very short, the last one. Do we have a final volunteer? Diego Farías, Gaspar, Kelly, Natalia, Nicolás.
I can help you.
Thank you very much, Diego.
After keep and the
After
dragon's keep, and after tower, the tallest tower.
Tallest tower. And then in line 7,
After love.
after love. Thank you very much. That was a little not that straight.
And
So-
finally,
And finally, what?
kiss
Kiss.
to end the
Oh yeah.
story.
To end the last IP. Yeah, I think you are correct. I only have one element that is different. That I think it's that at the beginning, in the first one, I think he says, the narrator says, once upon a time there was a lovely princess. I don't think there's a stop there. So we're going to listen to the first part again. So here, I need to change the.
Once upon a time, there was a lovely princess.
What do you reckon? There is a pause there or not?
Shrek pause. Pause.
What?
I think it pause.
You think it pauses?
Yes.
I think probably if it does, it's like a very subtle pause. It's not that prominent, right? We are going to keep the pause, but I still have my question. I still have my doubts. So yeah, this was the the right answers, and I think you got them all. So congratulations. Now we are going to do something kind of similar to what we did during the first hour, and it's about tonicity. And remember that in tonicity, you can find the prehead, the head, the tonic syllable, and the tail. In this case, we have 4 examples. We don't have 7 as in the previous hour, and you have to do the same thing that you did previously.
But this time we have only 4 exercises.
Exactly, only 4. And there's a little change. And the change is that I am going to read the exercises. So I am going to give you 1 minute to 2 minutes from now on for you to write on your notebooks or in a piece of paper those 4 examples. So I can read them to you, or even if I don't read them to you, you should be able to identify at least some parts of the IPs. So off you go. You have 1 minute and a half, 2 minutes to write the sentences down. As I already mentioned, then I'm going to read them to you, and then you're going to have 5 minutes to identify the different parts. That was it. So I want to say something, and that was that partially I was lying to you, because you don't have to only identify the tonicity, but you also have to identify the tonality here, because I'm not going to say how many, but in the exercises, the punctuation has been deleted. I mean, some of them. And with that being said, it means that maybe if there was punctuation before, maybe there is some pauses, and with those pauses, it means that we have more than one IP. And remember that in each IP, you have to have a tonic syllable. So probably in, for instance, sentence number 1, 2, 3, or 4, you will have to have more than one tonic syllable because of the possibility that they may be more than one IP within a given sentence. So I am going to read number 1 for you in order to, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, in order for you to first identify the tonality, and then I am going to read them again so you can start identifying the different components. So the first one says, the first student to finish can leave early. Again, the first student to finish can leave early. Now number 2. Sadly, she has gone away. Again, sadly, she has gone away. Now number 3. The person who was watching me left a ticket behind. The person who was watching me left a ticket behind. Number 4, it says, Alan couldn't make it, so he took his place. Again, Alan couldn't make it, so he took his place. Now that you have identified where the tonality is on the sentence, on each sentence, I'm going to read the sentences again while you work on identifying the different components. Gaspar, do you have a question?
No, I could answer the first one.
Okay. So when we check this, you're going to be the first one to answer me with the different parts of tonicity, okay?
Yes,
So,
no problem.
thank you very much. So the first one again, the first student to finish can leave early. Again.
The prehead could be D.
Wait. We haven't.
Oh.
We are going to check later. Once I have finished with all of them, and
sorry,
I'm going to give you.
sorry.
It's okay. And I'm going to give you perhaps 2 or 3 minutes to finish. So.
Oh, sorry, miss.
It's okay. Don't worry. The first one is the first student to finish can leave early. Again, the first student to finish. I'm sorry. Can leave early. Number 2. Sadly, she has gone away. Sadly, she has gone away. Number 3. The person who was watching me left a ticket behind. The person who was watching me left a ticket behind. And the last one is, Alan couldn't make it, so he took his place. Again, Alan couldn't make it, so he took his place. Now we are going to have 2 minutes in order to finish this. Finish identifying the components.
The exercises.
Yes. Finish identifying the components. Yes. So time's up. Are you? Have you finished? Have you finished? Are you ready? So we can check. Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat the question? So Gaspar, let's do number 1.
Okay, no problem. The first one, the prehead could be D.
D. Do
D,
you
the
want
prehead.
to? Yes. Do you want to separate the different IPs? Do you want to mark the tonality?
Well, for me it's fine.
Okay, so where? Of course, we start here at the beginning. Where does this first IP finish?
After first.
What?
Sorry?
Listen to me. The first student to finish can leave early. The
Yes.
first IP, remember that tonality is when we divide the sentence.
After
So when
student. After student.
the first student to finish can leave early.
So could be after finish.
That's it. So
That's it.
by default, the second one ends here, right at the end. So now we have 2 different ones, and we have to have a tonic syllable in each one of them. So you have already identified the prehead. So where is the head or the tonic syllable? Or
The head could be student.
Student up until.
Oh no.
Because we start here, right? Because this is a
Yes.
prehead. So
Yes.
we start here. And it's up to what word?
After first student.
Yeah, but which one is the tonic syllable? Let's start by the tonic syllable of the first one.
First.
First is the head.
Oh, it's a head. Well, the tonic syllable could be student.
Student.
Student. The tonic syllable.
I will say, and this is, I don't know if you think the same, that the tonic syllable for me can be finished. Because if you think about it, if you say the first student, listen to me. If you say the first student to finish, the first student, and you ask yourself, the first student to do what? So for me, I think the most important element here is finish, because if we say student to finish, we can understand that it's related to end something, right? In your homework or something like that. So I think this is a tonic syllable, right?
This is tonic syllable, yeah.
And
Finish.
by default, all of this, it's called
The head.
the head. Perfect. And here we have the second IP. So we also need to identify a tonic syllable and probably a head, a prehead, or a tail. Which one is a tonic syllable? I mean, I am going, I don't know how you call el puntero in English, but I have my puntero here and it looks like I am under finish. I am right here. So in this one, in the case of can leave early, which one is the tonic syllable? Can
Well,
leave or early?
the tail could be early.
All right, but let's identify the topic syllable first.
Oh, the tonic syllable.
The tonic
Okay.
syllable. Yes, I always say tonic syllable. I'm so sorry. It's tonic.
Can leave it's the tonic syllable. Can leave.
Can?
Can leave.
But you need to remember some things. For instance, there are some elements that can be unstressed and some that can have a first stress in certain parts. So for instance, if I say the first students to finish can leave early. Can, in this case, if I pronounce it can, it is
Oh,
the
okay.
weak form, so it's can leave. Can, it's not stressed, right?
Yeah, it's not stressed.
Yes. So if it is not stressed, can, what would it be? Can.
It's a tonic syllable.
The tonic syllable is always the most important element within the sentence. So I'm
Yes.
going to help you a little bit. Can, in this case, it is not the most important element because I am even pronouncing this element, this word as a weak form, so it is not that important.
Sure.
So it can leave early. I am going to give you another hint. Here we have a primary stress.
Well, in can could be it's not the tail, obviously, because the tail is in the last part, at the
Yes,
final,
at the end.
at the end. Yeah.
So
Could be the head.
because the head, it's the element that holds the stress. In this case, I'm going to give you a hint. This is the head.
It's the head. Yeah.
So this, what is this? If it's before the head. Can, what is can?
Prehead.
The prehead.
The prehead and the tail.
The prehead, but we have to have a tonic syllable. The tail may or not be present, but we always have to have a tonic syllable. So the missing element early, what it's going to be?
The head.
The head is leave. And we have to have a tonic syllable. So the early, it's the
tonic syllable.
That's it.
That's right.
That's it. So we have two different IPs. The first one, it's the first student to finish, and the second one is can leave early. Right? Thank you very much, Gaspar.
You're welcome, Miss.
Do we have a volunteer for number 2? For the one that says, sadly, she has gone away. Or has gone away. Do you have a volunteer? If not, I'm going to ask you. Diego Troncoso.
Yes.
Can you help me with this one, please?
Okay. In the first place, with the tonality,
Yes.
we divide this sentence in sadly as a first part,
Yeah.
and she has gone away as a second part.
Okay. Perfect.
Then, sadly, as a tonic, I'm sorry, as a tonic syllable,
Yes.
she as a prehead,
Only she?
she
She has. Perfect. Because has is also unstressed. And
gone as a tonic syllable. Oh no, no.
gone as the head?
Yes,
Or
yes.
excellent. And then by default away it's going to be the
The tonic syllable.
perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Sebastián Camaño.
Yes, I'm here.
Can you help me with the with number 3, please?
Right.
So how many IPs do we have here?
I mean, two, I think, right? Like after me is the first one.
Perfect. So you tell me.
And in regards to tonicity, the the prehead will be D.
E, because it's unaccented. Perfect.
The head person who was.
Because person has an stress. Perfect.
The tonic syllable watching.
And last but not least,
The tail me.
it's the tail. And for the second one.
All right, so left is the prehead.
Yes.
The head is a ticket.
And this is the
Tonic syllable, right?
the tonic syllable. Thank you very much.
All right.
In the first one, I agree with you. But in the second one, I have a different idea, and it's maybe, I don't know if it can change or maybe it can be different. But for instance, I think that maybe the tonic syllable is the word ticket. Because if I ask myself, what did I left behind? I mean, what did I leave behind? The words will be ticket. Like for me, ticket is the most important element, or not?
Yes, it definitely will be. I thought that too, but I wasn't really sure, so I went for behind.
We are going to change this one. Thank you very much for your answer, Sebastian. So this is the tonic syllable, and then finally we have the tail. And last but not least, Diego Farias, I think I have an ask here, or Marieta, or Kelly. Pia. Yes? Or we can do this all together? Is that okay with you? Or Sebastian, can you help me?
I want, but the mic was off. So I think it separates into
Yes. Two different
Alan,
ideas, right?
yes, Alan could make it. That's one. So he took his place.
Yes.
And
Go ahead.
the prehead is Alan.
Alan,
Yes.
you sure? This one, it's a little bit tricky.
Because pronouns.
Because I am going to give you a hint. Alan, just like an example that says Billy before, has a stress in the name, Alan.
That's my doubt because pronouns doesn't have a stress. So the names,
Yep.
yes, it has.
In this case, yes, especially when we pronounce them. Like Alan couldn't make it. We don't say Alan. It's not like with a monotone. We say Alan. There is a primary stress in there. Alan couldn't make it.
Okay, so it's the head, the Tony's.
Tonic syllable?
Yes, is couldn't.
Couldn't?
Yes.
I will give you a hint. Here ends the head. Because the word couldn't, in this case, it's not stress, and it has a contraction, so it's even in its weak form. So
I have here a bigger doubt because
why?
if we see this sentence, I think it refers that couldn't make it. So if the tonicity stress is make, I think it's all the opposite of what he wants to say.
Yeah,
Because
I was
if you
thinking.
say make is the tonicity is if you make it, if you do it, but in this case couldn't make.
Yeah, I was thinking the same, but according to what I read, it was in this case the word make, because it wasn't like about if he could or not. It was about the fact that of the act itself. It was not on focusing on the positive or the negative aspect, but on the verb itself. So in this case, this was the tonic syllable. And I'm sorry to rush things, but we have 5 minutes left. So
It is obviously the tail.
Excellent. And in the second one,
Took is the tonicity stress.
took.
Yes, or place.
I will say is place, because we are talking about
Yes. What he took his place. Yes, I understand.
Yes, and took his in this case it's a head because the stress is on took. So this is going to be the head, and by default again it's going to be the
Prehead. Yes. The second part was easier than the first because the first part was a very confusing.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So thank you very much. Now we are going to, and that was the answer. We are going to do a short recap because of the time, because we only have 5 minutes, and I think you all understand this. We have the tone is the major pitch movement within the tone unit, and in other words, the overall behavior of pitch is tone. And we, as we already mentioned, we have mainly 3 types of tones in English: fall, rise, and fall, rise. And here we were going to do this exercise but as we in 5 minutes, but if we consider that the lesson ends at 10:35 and we literally have only 5 minutes left, I think it's better if we all do this together. So I don't know if you can remember, but there were some certain words that were going to have like a fixed type of intonation or a fixed pattern of intonation to it. And I don't know if you remember, but for something, I mean, for instance, they were a certain type of intonation for WH questions. They were a certain type of intonation that was used in yes or no questions. So we're going to do the first one together. And I wasn't going to read this at the beginning, but now I'm going to do it because of the time. And the first one, it says, who is the girl in the red? I mean, who is the girl in the red? Oh, I'm having problems pronouncing that word. Who is the girl in the red dress? In the red dress. I'm sorry, that wasn't. Who is the girl in the red dress? Who is the girl in the red dress? Which type of intonation is that? Fall rise or fall rise?
It's fall.
Fall. Why?
Fall.
Do you remember why?
Because it's long. It's down the pronunciation. It's down the tone. Down tone.
And also remember, because WH questions always have fall.
Double H. Yeah. Double H questions.
Perfect. Now for the second one. Do we have milk at home, don't we? We have milk at home,
Rice.
don't we? Perfect.
Yes, or not question.
I mean, oh, yeah. That it's a rice one. And it's because question tags that show uncertainty are always with a rice intonation. So third one. Do you think it's allowed? Do you think it's allowed?
Rice.
Listen
or
to it.
all rice.
Listen to it.
Rice.
Do you think it's allowed? Allowed?
Yes, a fall rice.
It's rice.
You made a wave in your
It's
mouth.
fall.
It's a fall rice.
Fall rice.
And the
Both.
answer is
It's both.
It's a fall rice because when we show, I remember that when we want to show uncertainty and also when we are not sure about what we want to say, we use a fall rice. And also if we want to be like more polite, so if we are asking for something, like in this case for permission or something, we want to be polite, like, do you think it's allowed? So we have a fall and then we rise the intonation. Number 4, where are we going? Where are we going?
Rice.
But what do we have in here? Perhaps I'm pronouncing this wrong. Where are we going?
Fall.
It's a fall because WH
because it's double H question.
Perfect.
I got confused.
And in the last one, we have, do you sell ice cream? Do you sell ice cream?
Rice.
Rice?
It's a rice.
Oh, yes.
Because it's a yes or no.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. If we answer this question, it's a yes or no question. So it's yes, I do have eyes, or no, I don't have eyes. So those were the answers. And I think we only have 1 minute left. So we are going to end the session with this. And it says basically, this is a recap of everything we have been covering today. The 3 T's, the tone, it's a major pitch movement within the tone unit, and we have mainly 3, rise, fall, and fall rise. Tonicity, first we are going to talk about tonality. That's the division of the material into meaningful chunks, and those divisions are called IPs, or intonation phrases, or tone units. And once we have identified those, we can find the tonicity within that IP. And there we have the prehead, tonic syllable. And basically, also the tonicity is the element that we want to we want the other person to notice the most. So I think that was it for today's lesson. Do you have a question? Do you have any question regarding the 3Ts? These three systems? No? Because if not, it is time to leave, because the second period ends at 10:35, and it's already.
I have a question for Mr.
Go ahead.
Bruno.
Mr. Bruno. Are you there, Mr. Bruno? Mr. Bruno? Teacher?
Yes, ma'am.
The tonicity
Yes.
exercises will be in the test next week.
No, I don't think that we're going to include tonicity exercises. Now, always remember what Ms. Javiera told you, because we already talked about what a syllable is. Because I understand that when you were identifying the most prominent element in an international phrase, you referred sometimes to one word or two words. But remember that we're talking about a syllable. And the syllable is, one way to identify a syllable is to identify the vowel sounds first, right? So whenever you have to identify the tonic syllable, you need to identify which vowel sound in a word, which usually is the last content word in an international phrase, is the most prominent. Okay, so it's quite easy in the sense that whenever you identify the international phrase first, you identify the most prominent element in that international phrase, which is usually the last content word. Usually, not always, the last content word, right? And in that content word, you identify the most prominent syllable. Because in a content word, there will always be one prominent syllable, and that will be the tonic syllable. And that's basically the identification of the nucleus of that particular intonational phrase. But to answer to your question, I don't think that we're going to include tonicity in the evaluation. I think we're going to include tonality only, but we're going to evaluate later the 3Ts, because they are an integrated systems that basically shape intonation in English.
Professor,
All
I
right.
have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the class of the today's class, it will not be included in the test.
This class first was recorded, or is being recorded, so it's going to be uploaded to the LMS.
Okay.
The evaluation that we're having next week will not include tonicity or
Tonicity,
tone.
no.
Will
And tone, no.
only include tonality. Only
Only
tonality.
tonality. Just tonality. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Now, the evaluations that we're having next class, but that doesn't mean that in the next evaluation, in the following evaluation, we're going to use, we're going to include tone and tonicity, but not for next week evaluations.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you too, teacher. I didn't say before.
No problem. All right. Thank you, Ms. Javiera.
You're welcome. So I think that was all for today's class. Now it's time to finish the lesson.
I agree.
I agree too.
All right.
So goodbye, take care. Have a
Goodbye, miss.
nice
Goodbye, professor. Have a nice weekend.
Bye, teachers.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone. You too. Thank you,
Goodbye.
Ms. Javiera.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Take care.